Hello students, we are going to end up the lesson photosynthesis in higher plant with the topic factors affecting on the rate of photosynthesis. There are two factors are responsible for the process of photosynthesis. We are categorized it into external factor and internal factor. The external factors are CO2, carbon dioxide, light, temperature, water, and oxygen. While the internal factors are chlorophyll, content we called number of chlorophyll, then protoplasm, accumulation of photosynthetic substance of byproduct, we also called it byproduct because byproduct in the form of glucose, and internal structure of leaf. All these factors are directly and indirectly affect on the rate of photosynthesis. Now we talk about one factor. Firstly, we talk about the external factor, and from external factor the first factor is carbon dioxide and CO2. When we talk about the carbon dioxide, it is the basic factor for photosynthesis, or we call the basic raw material of the photosynthesis. If carbon dioxide is not there, then the rate of photosynthesis is directly affect, but in environment the rate of photosynthesis is 0.03%. So it is already in very low concentration. At optimum temperature, the carbon dioxide is provided to the plant is up to 0.03%, and that's why the rate of photosynthesis is increases. So we called, if the concentration of CO2 increases, then rate of photosynthesis also increases. It is directly depend on the rate of photosynthesis. Now the second factor is light. Light is also essential for the photosynthesis, and the source of light is sunlight. But we know that light is a white spectrum or white color, and when we split it, then the splitting shows the 7 colors. Out of that 7 colors, red light and blue light show more photosynthesis, while green light shows less photosynthesis. Means the intensity of the light is also affect on the rate of photosynthesis. If we increases the intensity of light, then the rate of photosynthesis also increases. The next factor is temperature. Temperature is not directly affect the rate of photosynthesis, but it indirectly affect, because there are so many environmental conditions in the different places, and according to that environmental condition, plant adapted themselves, and the rate of photosynthesis of them is also different. So we talk about here the some adverse condition, that is the in snowy area, the photosynthesis takes place 0 degree to 10 degree Celsius temperature. In desert area, it start with we called 55 degrees Celsius, and in hot spring generally some algae are there, and they have a capability to photosynthesis takes place at the temperature of 75 degrees Celsius. Means the every area, due to the changeable environment condition, the rate of photosynthesis is different, and it is depend on the temperature. The next factor is water. Water is also a raw material of photosynthesis. for photosynthesis. So the availability of the water is directly affect the rate of photosynthesis. If water increases, then the rate of photosynthesis also increases, and vice versa. Vice versa means if the water content decreases, then the rate of photosynthesis is also decreases. But very high quantity of water if we provide to the plant, then it shows the adverse effect on the plant also. So the optimum content of the water is essential for the rate of photosynthesis. And the last point of the external factor is oxygen. Oxygen effect on the rate of photosynthesis. Actually, it is the byproduct of photosynthesis. If it is the byproduct of the photosynthesis, then why it is affect on the photosynthesis? In last video, we already talked about the C2 pathway. And what happened in C2 pathway? C2 pathway is nothing but the photorespiration. What happened in C2 pathway? The Rubisco enzyme utilized oxygen instead of carbon dioxide, and the photorespiration takes place. During that reaction, the energy is utilized, but there is no formation of any useful substance. Means is the total wasting of the energy of plant. That's why if the accumulation of the oxygen is increases inside the leaves, then the photorespiration also increases, and that minimize the rate of photosynthesis. So we call it minimize the rate of photosynthesis. Actually, it is happen in C3 plant. In case of C4 and CAM plant, these are absent. Now we talk about the internal factors. Internal factors are, the first internal factor is chlorophyll content. Because the photosynthesis takes place in chlorophyll, chlorophyll provides the place for the process of photosynthesis. It has a photosystem. We already talked about the photosystem. They are located in the thylakoid membrane. If the number of chlorophyll high, then the number of photosystem high, and obviously the rate of photosynthesis is also affected by it. So the chlorophyll is high, the rate of photosynthesis is high. It also affects the relations of the light, because the newly developed chlorophyll or newly developed plant have a number of chlorophyll, and it has a process of photosynthesis is high there. But in case of old leaves, the content of the chlorophyll is decreases, and it affects the rate of photosynthesis. Then the next one is protoplasm. Protoplasm, it's not actually affect the photosynthesis, but by some scientists it is explained that it contains some useful enzymes for dark reaction. And we know that dark reaction are, and the byproduct of the dark reaction is glucose, or it prepared the food. So sometimes the protoplasm is also affect on the rate of photosynthesis, but it is in very small quantity. Then the next is accumulation of end product. The end product of the photosynthesis the end product is glucose. And where it is accumulated? It is accumulated in mesophyll cells finally. And mesophyll cells are also responsible for the process of photosynthesis. So if the glucose is accumulated in the mesophyll cells, then the rate of photosynthesis is affected, but mostly it affects in the afternoon time. Means at the afternoon time, the rate of photosynthesis we call decreases. Even some other factors like anatomy of the leaves, age of the leaves, and degree of the opening of the stomata. Anatomy of leaf, degree of opening of stomata, and old leaves. These conditions are also affect on the photosynthesis. Some leaves are anatomically so much complexes, so the rate of photosynthesis is decreases there. If the degree of opening of and closing of the stomata, we talk about the CAM cycle related to the stomata. They are opening at the night time and closing at the daytime. In this pattern of the plant, the photosynthesis is affected, and the old leaves are also responsible to decrease the rate of photosynthesis. And the final things is affect on the photosynthesis is internal structure of leaf. We already talked about it before the first one factor. Sometimes the size, when we talk about the internal structure of leaf, the factors affect like a size, shape of leaves, number of stomata, anatomy of leaf. All these factors are also affect the rate of photosynthesis. If the size and shape of the leaves is very small, then the rate of photosynthesis is small, and when it is big, then the rate of photosynthesis is higher. If the number of stomata are more, then again the rate of photosynthesis is high, and if they are less, then it becomes low. Anatomy of leaf, we already talked about the C3 and C4 plant. There are some difference between their anatomy, so the rate of photosynthesis in these plants is also affect on the photosynthesis processes. This is about the factors affecting on the rate of photosynthesis. Here the lesson is completed. I hope you understand all the videos of this lesson. In next video we start and we come with the new lesson or new another interesting topic.